Hey guys, SpinoDude here, and today we are taking a look at another 2017 Safari Limited figure for the #HowISafari campaign. So let's have our co-host Marvin bring it out. Thank you, Marvin. So today, guys, we are going to be taking a look at this. It is the 2017 Safari Limited Quetzalcoatlus. If you've been staying tuned to the channel, you'll remember we had a massive 2017 Safari Limited haul, and included in the batch was this new Quetzalcoatlus figure. A massive thank you to Safari Limited for sending this figure out. I cannot wait to take a closer look at it. So without further ado, guys, let's dive into the review. Before we take a closer look at the figure, here are a few quick facts about Quetzalcoatlus itself. Quetzalcoatlus Northropi was named after the serpent-like Aztec god Quetzalcoatl. It was a giant pterosaur that lived in the Cretaceous period of what is now the United States of America. Quetzalcoatlus was one of the largest animals to ever take flight, being 20 feet tall with a wingspan of over 36 feet, tall enough to look a giraffe in the eye when landed. It was originally thought to be a scavenger, feeding off the carcasses of already dead animals, but its beak was not specialized for stripping flesh. It is now thought that Quetzalcoatlus hunted more like a modern-day heron or stork, using its tall limbs to roam around in search of smaller animals to feed upon. This hunting strategy also helped it conserve more energy, being such a large animal. So without further ado, guys, let's start taking a closer look at this awesome pterosaur. So here is the 2017 Safari Limited Quetzalcoatlus. Out of all the figures Safari released this year, this one seems to be getting the least attention for some reason. For first impressions, I think this figure looks quite nice, although there are a few things I'd like to discuss about it. First of all, the detail on this figure is nice in the long neck and body especially, with the lovely pycnofibers on the top of the model in brown and on the underbelly in a white color. The detail on the head is done pretty nice as well, although I feel like there could have been a little bit more done with the beak especially. Maybe it could have had some natural scratches or marks like the beaks on modern day birds, for example. But the part that seems to lack in detail the most has to be the wings. And of course there isn't a ton you can do detail-wise with pterosaur wings, but it just sort of looks unfinished on this model to me. Perhaps there could have been a different texturing, some stripes, or a better color blending to make it look more complete, instead of being one solid color and completely smooth. The overall sculpt on this figure looks really nice though. I especially like the shaping of the head here, although the beak looks a little bit odd to me. Perhaps mine is just slightly warped, but the bottom part of the beak is curving a little bit too much there. But the beak itself is actually somewhat pliable. Although I wouldn't pull on it too much, you can move it just enough where you could probably fit a small figurine of a prey item in its jaws. The colors on this figure are really nice though. I'm especially fond of the dark brown and white colors used on the neck, and the head is done very nicely with some light blues. The only thing that looks a little bit awkward to me in the color scheme, besides the wings of course, is the pink crest on top of the head there. I personally would have liked maybe a crimson red or an orange with some black spots perhaps, but it still looks quite nice. This figure is posed in a flight position which looks good, but I think I would like to see a pterosaur from Safari that's in a landed pose, especially an Azdarkid like Quetzalcoatlus. Figures of pterosaurs in a landed pose seem to be somewhat uncommon, although I do like pterosaurs in flight positions like this, mainly because I like hanging them from my ceiling. On the sculpt you can also see the very tiny sculpted hands on the wings and the feet which have their claws painted. I do also really like the toned musculature across the sculpt, especially in the shoulders here and on the pterosaur's chest. Alright, so for my overall thoughts on this figure, I think it's pretty nice, although it isn't my favorite from Safari's 2017 releases. There isn't a ton to talk about with this figure because it is pretty simple, but the sculpt itself is really nicely done, although I would have liked to see some more detailing on the wings which are completely smooth. The color scheme is very nice as well. I personally just think a different colored crest would have stood out a bit better, and perhaps some stripes or a different blend of colors would have made the wings look better. In terms of scientific accuracy, it's really well done. I especially like the addition of the pycnofibers on the body and the neck. The only thing that looks a little bit odd to me is the bottom part of the beak, which is kind of bent, but it just could be slightly warped on my figure here. But don't get me wrong, overall I think this is a nice figure and I look forward to hanging it from my ceiling with my other Pterosaur models. So good job, Safari Ltd. Although this isn't my favorite Pterosaur figure from your company, I still think it is a nice representation of the Quetzalcoatlus. So you're probably wondering just how big this figure is, so Marvin, bring out the ruler. Thank you, Marvin. Alright, we've got our trusty flexi ruler, so let's give this Quetzalcoatlus a measure. So in terms of the length from the tip of the beak all the way to the tip of the foot, we are looking at about 8 inches, and in terms of the height at the highest point, which is the top of the crest here on the head, we are looking at about 1 inch. Also, the wingspan from wingtip to wingtip is about 9.5 inches. For comparison, here's the 2017 Safari Ltd Quetzalcoatlus next to the 2017 Safari Ltd Dino-Kairos. If you want to see the review for this figure, link will be down below in the description. Both of these 2017 figures look very nice on display with each other. I love the feather detailing on this Dino-Kairos. So make sure you guys go check out Safari's new Dino-Kairos, it's an awesome figure. Up next for comparison, here is the 2017 Safari Ltd Quetzalcoatlus next to the Safari Ltd Untitled. If you want to see the review for this figure, link will be down below in the description. These two Cretaceous animals look quite nice next to each other. The Untitled is without doubt one of Safari's most popular models. So make sure you guys go check out Safari's Untitled if you haven't already. It's a truly stunning figure. And finally, for comparison, here is the 2017 Safari Ltd Quetzalcoatlus next to the 2017 Safari Ltd Microraptor. We just recently reviewed this figure on the channel, so if you want to see the review, link will be down below in the description. I think these figures look quite nice on display with each other, although in real life, Microraptor would be downright tiny next to a Quetzalcoatlus. So make sure you guys go check out Safari Ltd's new Microraptor. It's a truly awesome figure. Well, there we go, guys. That was today's look at the 2017 Safari Ltd Quetzalcoatlus. Although this figure isn't my favorite from their new releases, I still think it is nicely done, and I recommend picking it up for your collection, especially if you like pterosaurs. So if you guys want to get this figure for yourself, head on over to www.safarilimited.com. Also, be sure to check out their other awesome products while you're there. And if you guys want to learn more about the #HowISafari campaign, go check out Safari's Facebook page and other social media. So anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Also leave a comment telling me what you think of this new model. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care, and bye-bye.